17 book awards in less than a year. That's what I was able to do more recently. But it got me to thinking, was it worth my time? Was it worth my effort? And was it worth the expense? And more importantly, are book awards worth it for indie authors in general? We're going to talk about that in today's podcast, so make sure you stay tuned. What's shaking? This is Dale here, and I'm just tickled to death. You took a little bit of time out your day to spend a little bit of time with me to talk about my favorite thing in self-publishing. I am beyond geeked up to start up a new series right here on the podcast about book awards. We're going to be doing this throughout the month of September, and I am pumped up because our sponsors for the podcast is Book Award Pro. Busy authors put their awards on autopilot with Book Award Pro. Visit dalelinks.com/Book Award Pro for more details. And rather than me doing a full commercial spot that I would normally do 30 to 60 seconds long, I've got to kind of interweave a little bit of why Book Award Pro was absolutely critical to how I was able to get that many book awards. And I'm sure we're going to do a deep dive of Book Award Pro later this month here on the podcast. So, why book awards? Social proof will almost always get you the win. In fact, I believe it was Amazon Advertising in one of their their certification courses, they had mentioned that 91% of browsing customers on their platform of Amazon will make a purchase decision after they've looked at reviews. Crazy, right? 91%. So having reviews is a big deal. Now you're probably saying, but dude, that's reviews. You're talking about book awards. Now, yes, this is additional social proof. This is another way that you can be able to get more credibility from an outside resource, because it's not enough that you flex your book and say, look what I wrote. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. No one's going to pay attention to you. But somebody else says, you know what, that guy over there? He wrote the best thing since sliced bread. And all you got to do is just be humble, nod your head and say, well, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty big deal. So one of the areas we can talk about just real briefly in the additional social proof is, of course, going to be editorial reviews. Editorial reviews never go directly on a marketplace or website. Typically, it's provided through a third-party company like Kirkus or Union Square Review. Big shout out to the gang on over there. But the editorial reviews are a fantastic way to get third-party credibility. Here's another way. Is it enough that someone read your book and left you some type of a star rating? Sure. But what if we wanted to go take it a next level? In other words, it was so good, it wasn't just worth the person's time to read it, but experience this and take enough time to provide you an award. So with book awards, you're able to get third-party credibility that's going to kind of be that next level above just getting, say, a review or an organic review on Amazon. Not to mention that if you put your book in for book awards programs, there's nice little extra perks that come along with it. So for instance, remember I talked about editorial reviews? Yeah, there's a little bit of foreshadowing because some book award programs will provide editorial reviews that you can essentially copy, paste, and put it over into your book description if you wished, or what I would recommend is you leverage two areas in specific. Your editorial review section that you can access through Amazon Author Central, or using A+ content. A+ contents more recently came available inside your Kindle Direct Publishing dashboard. You go to the marketing tab, scroll down, and you'll see A+ content for all regions on Amazon. Here's the cool part about doing that. By putting it inside your editorial review section for Amazon Author Central, or by putting it in A+ content, you ready for this? It indexes stuff. I know, listen, you're probably like, that was a really big letdown. I was expecting something big. No, indexing is actually good because when you get indexed, this is another opportunity for discoverability, meaning that it aids in search engine optimization. So having these editorial reviews that you put on in there through these book awards is another great way to get your book in front of more people. The other perks that are going to come along with the territory include website promotion. So there's sometimes where they'll do a review and they'll go ahead and post it on the website. They'll even share it on their social media. That's kind of cool. And they'll even tag you. So of course, if they've got a following, they're going to notice you and you're going to get new followers through that. And of course, there are awards programs. So naturally, there's going to be actual official awards ceremonies. And so when you have those awards ceremonies, what's going to happen? People are going to attend it. Other authors are going to check it out, and maybe other authors' families are going to check that out. So this is another opportunity that you put your book in front of a larger audience. And here's the cool thing. Let's just say that you submitted your book to a book award and it doesn't win anything. Maybe it gets an honorable mention of some sort, or it places in a specific category. That's okay, because this is another marketing opportunity. We get in front of an audience we wouldn't have otherwise been in front of if we went without it. You're going to want to leverage all these avenues for increasing your credibility and, in some instances, your discoverability. This means that don't drop the opportunity that you have in front of you as you put your book into some book awards. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to leverage this? What's a good way that I can make the most of this? Because obviously you're having to invest your time and money into this. It better have a pretty darn good return other than just some shiny little stamp you get to put on the front of your book cover. So you're probably saying, okay, what do I do to select them? What's the best way? I wish I could tell you that there's a perfect way to do it. Instead, I'm just going to tell you this. Nothing is going to work for you better than your intuition. You got to trust your gut. You're going to vet your selection based on your needs. Do you really need a given book award? Dig deep into that specific book award. How long has it been around? Who are their winners? What have the winners gotten? Do you know these winners? If so, is there a way that you can contact them to kind of validate or verify that they're using that book award? There's so many things you have to kind of think about, but do you really need the book award? Having the book award is great. Is it a must-have? No, but it is definitely a nice to have that can really aid in so much of your marketing and promotion. If you're okay with upsells, now you're probably saying, wait, whoa, hang on. I talked about getting a book award. Now you're telling me I got to pay more money? Yeah, there are some book award programs out there that are going to pretty much charge just for about everything from digital seals to maybe certificates by the mail, or maybe for additional promotional type stuff, or if you wanted to get merch. Is that a bad thing? No, they're running a business. And if they're a good awards program, someone you can stand behind and feel very confident when you have their seal on your cover, then that's great. That's fine. You don't have to always buy these additional things. Does it make the awards program terrible? No, not by any stretch. You would think that by submitting your book and paying for the submission fee would be enough, but they're going to offer other things. And you know what? Can't fault them on the hustle. Keep at it. But again, you don't have to get the upsells. Let's say intuition's not helping you out. You're like, Dale, no, I don't trust myself. I go get this book award. It looks really awesome. They had some pictures of people. Jim Carrey was on there. I still don't know. Great news. Now, you've heard me gush about the Alliance of Independent Authors on a number of occasions, aka Ally, as I will call them from this point on. And Ally has not only what's called the watchdog list, to where they will vet different companies, products, and services. They also have what's called the Author Awards and Contests Rated and Reviewed. This whole listing shows, I would say, thousands of different awards programs, and they will tell you how they feel about some of them. Are they worth the value, or Should you show some caution? It's going to be up to you. You're going to need to do your due diligence. What I would say is go take a look at that at dalelanks.com/awards. If you see an award, type it into that little directory. See what it says for recommendations. If it works, fantastic. Now, let's just say you're like, you know what, Dale, I really just don't want to look for book awards. I want them, but I don't feel like looking for them, much less trying to figure out if it's going to be a good fit for me. That's where Book Award Pro comes into play. And this is where I told you I wasn't going to do a full 30 to 60 second one, because I'm just going to kind of tell you that it was mid-September of 2020 that I spoke with the team over at Book Award Pro, and I said to them, I got a challenge for you. I want to see how many book awards you can do within 30 days, how many you could actually get me to win. And they were like, cringe face. They're like, no, this is kind of, they were nervous. And I'm like, if this works, let's give it a shot. And I was willing to invest what I needed it to in order to see if it would work. And here's the funny thing. The first 30 days, I actually won 5 different book awards. So immediately I was like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'm like, oh my gosh, a Book Award Pro. This is awesome. And I said, what will happen if we do it for the next year? And they're like, oh man. And within the last 30 days, I got with them and I did what's called a fast track boost, which means that it goes out to numerous submissions and really expedites things. And within that, the past couple of weeks, I ended up winning a handful of awards, not to mention some of the awards that I had already applied for other books as these programs were closing out and picking winners. So I got 17 in total. That was really nice. So the part that I really liked was the fact that when you invest in Book Award Pro's services, they manage everything for you on the Pro account, which is what I have. They will curate the right programs and awards based on my type of content. And they will try to figure out what are the awards programs that I'm most likely to win. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little feature there. Now, in the event that you just get the basic plan, you would have to do that yourself. They will curate the awards and programs for you, but you've got to kind of sift through that. I like the fact that I didn't have to do that. I just went ahead, let them in charge and said, you guys take the wheel. You know exactly what you're doing. Think of Book Award Pro kind of like a matchmaker. They find the programs and awards that are looking for the books and the writers. And the writers, of course, are looking for the awards program. So Book Award Pro does that. So the biggest thing, though, is if you're going to do the book awards, you always got to say, what am I going to do with this? Should you submit? You should do something. Submissions, you can consider yourself either submitted to an award program or, as they like to say at Book Award Pro, nominate. Since you've been nominated for a book award, you're technically a book award nominee. So there is one avenue right there. But when you win it, you're an award-winning author, which is kind of cool. But what are you going to do with it? Because getting it without anticipating or doing any work with it is okay at best. Getting it with the intent to work with it and use it is smart business. So one thing that I did was I went ahead and I got a social media promotion on anytime I've won an award. I've gone and tagged all the necessary people, and I've also put this to where I have all the seals of each award on my book over on my product page on my website. So that way people actually see all of the different seals that I have with it. You can only imagine with 17 awards and 4 books, there's no way I'm going to put a digital seal of every single one of those things. But on my website, it works really nicely there. So you can take a look at that at selfpublishingwithdale.com. I'm sure it's over inside my bookshelf on dalelroberts.com as well. But take a look at that. You want to make sure that there's some type of intent that you have, and what are you going to be doing with this specific information, whether you're submitting for a book award or you have won that book award. Either way, make sure that you're taking advantage of that situation. We're going to do a little wrap up here in just a moment, but of course, I want to give a big shout out to the sponsors of Book Award Pro. Busy authors put their awards on autopilot with Book Award Pro. Visit dalelinks.com/Book Award Pro for more details. Here are my final tips as we start to wrap things up. Much like what I tell anybody when it comes into the world of marketing and promotion, never invest in what you cannot stand to lose. Meaning that if you've already invested in your cover design, your editor, your interior formatter, and you're ready to go ahead and launch this book, and you're kind of like going, ooh, you know what? Book Award Pro looks like the thing I'm going to do, or maybe this award program looks like the thing I'm going to do, but you got to kind of look at it from a sensible standpoint. If you put money into this and didn't get results out of it, are you okay with that? That's going to be the thing. But remember the little things I told you as well that you need to do if you're going to be using book awards. You just can't let it set and forget. It just doesn't work that way if you want to get the most from that investment. So you're going to want to make sure you promote your submission and any subsequent win. So you go ahead and you submit to a specific book award, share it with the world. In some instances, some book awards are actually based on voting. So sending people over to a specific site, figuring out how they can proactively help you and support you to get you to win a book award. That might be a way. But you're going to want to make sure you continue to promote the award-winning status. As soon as you become an award-winning author, no one's going to be able to take that away from you. For now, you can start at award-nominated author. But once you get that book award, award-winning author, so-and-so. Enter your name there. Hey, next week and the following weeks, we're actually going to be talking more about book awards and leveraging those in the smart direction. And this next week, I will be discussing marketing your self-published book with awards. So you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, Dale, that sounds all well and good, but how do I actually promote those nominations and those book awards? I'm going to spend an entire episode. We're going to be talking about those specific ways that you can be able to do that. So make sure that you stay tuned to this podcast, and also do me a favor, subscribe or follow me on your preferred podcasting platform and leave a review. Or if you're watching on YouTube, the podcast channel, leave a comment. Would love to hear from you. Till next week, folks, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I will chat with you later.